are bonus time with Joey Diaz on the Warrior Poet podcast. This is it. We can go full wheels off now, Joey. No restrictions, no censorship.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So, Joey, one thing, I'm going to just dive right in because we don't have too much time here. So I got to get to my questions here that my people on the Warrior Poet podcast are interested in. Joey, you've talked about many intoxicants you've had throughout the years. But what about and you get high as fuck, higher than Shaq on stilts. You get high as any human being can get high. But what about some of the other psychedelic drugs that me and Joe talk about a lot when we're on the show? What's your experience been? You ever tried any mushrooms? You ever tried DMT? You ever tried?
When I was, my father died in 1966. He thought he was doing a bump of coke, and it was heroin. So he did a big bump, and he fucking died, you know. So growing up, I always knew I wasn't going to do none of that shit. You know? I was a jock. I didn't think I was even going to do drugs. But as life went on, I started smoking pot like everybody else. And then the big drug then, when I was 13, 14, was mescaline.
Really?
Mescaline. Now, you had microdot acid, which is one thing. Mm-hmm. But these guys, I used to drive to Pennsylvania, to East Stroudsburg. It was like an hour away. I didn't drive. I had friends that drove. And they would get it in little pill form where you open up the capsule. He would do the shit.
The acid or the mescaline?
The mescaline. Yeah. He would grind it up. I don't know what the fuck he would do. I wasn't too. But that was my, after my mom died, I was 15. And I say for a year I did, because I would say that's how I made a living. So on Saturdays I would go to East Stroudsburg, and these guys were like 30, and they were scientists. And they would make window pane acid. They would make four-way acid. They would make blotter acid. And they would they had a relative in Arizona, and they would get fucking mescaline and grind it up and make the teas. I never had the mushrooms, and I really enjoyed tripping. Yeah. I went to see Pink Floyd, The Wall tripping, 1980.
Right. Mescaline or LSD?
LSD. I went to see the Stones on window pane acid, which is the strongest acid I ever did in my life. And then these guys also used to make the acid for the ice cubes, for the sugar cubes. They would send you. And I mean, me and my buddies used to trip ass every night. I remember going home and seeing my face melting. You know, it was just a very weird experience for me. And I did that up to 1980. You know, and you're young. You know, Orlando's young. You know, I tell people are like, what do you think about the weed situation in New York? Well, I saw that with cocaine. You know, I saw, cocaine is the strongest drug ever because there was nickel bags. That's $5. There was mescaline acid, which were $4 for a hit, $8, $10, and cocaine came along, and it was $100.
Jesus.
$100. There was no negotiation, no new renegotiation. You know what sunglasses are doing for people now? You ever see, like, after a thing, you see the player from Miami Heat, he's got a pair of glasses. He's a dumb fuck, but all of a sudden he's side magna cum, he becomes you. Yeah. That's what cocaine did for people. People always think that cocaine came into society. When people first started doing cocaine, they didn't do cocaine to get high. Yeah. They did cocaine to raise their social status. It was a Rolex. When you walked into that bar and when you came out of the bathroom, the whole place would look at you. You were E.F. Hutton.
Because you were blowing money, literally.
Blowing money. And they thought it elevated you. It didn't elevate you as a drug. It became a drug years later. Once they took it and they couldn't get the ether to cut it in Colombia, and we had to start sneaking ether into Colombia to cut it, because that was the biggest thing after a while. It wasn't them getting it out. It was sneaking the ether into the country to wash it. Then it became something else, and then it is what it is today, which is it's a fucking disgusting drug habit.
It is.
But it didn't start like that. It started as a social up bump.
Right.
Because even if you weren't rich, you were rich that night. And girls thought you were rich, and they'd suck your dick, and they'd lick your asshole. They didn't give a fuck. That's what it was. So once cocaine came along, I didn't mess with the acids and stuff like that. I got everything you guys talked about. It was just 35 years ago. Right. I can't remember every psychedelic experience, but I would go home.
Do you think it shifted your perspective at that point? Because, there's a lot of studies coming out.
It broke down what was going on in my head. It broke down why I hated God at the time. It broke down why God could take a mother from a child and not leave no living family. And usually kids, when that happens to you and you're left in that situation, they're the ones that shoot a whole fucking post office up. Yep. That acid I did broke down the situation to slow me down. So I'm very thankful I did that acid today. And I did acid 2 years ago with Aubrey. We were going to a Pink Floyd thing. You might agree with me, you might not. The DMT, that's kid stuff. I wouldn't give that to a 14-year-old. To me, that's kid stuff. Because I don't believe in the 10-second trip. It does nothing for you.
Well, that's you're talking about smoking it. Now you
no, I'm talking about whatever the fuck you guys do with it.
You drink the ayahuasca, you're going to be gone for as long as an acid trip.
The mushrooms are great. I didn't experience mushrooms till 84, till I got to Colorado. The problems with mushrooms, they give me diarrhea. So half the fucking night, I'm wiping my ass with a fucking worrying about how many trees they cut. So for me to wipe my ass, I'm sitting there looking at toilet paper, tripping on, well, they must have cut a whole forest down for me. I won't wipe my ass. So I always tell people, you want to fuck with me? Let's go get some window pane. Let's lock ourselves in a room. Let's put on Black Sabbath, Master Reality, and let's get to what's really fucking bothering you. Yeah. What's really... Now, I met you, and you've enlightened me with the ayahuasca, but more in the sense, my interest is the interest of people getting high for 20 years and all of a sudden doing ayahuasca and not wanting to get high ever again. That's what my interest is.
I went to a conference out in Oakland. It's called the MAPS Conference, Multidisciplinary Association of Psychedelic Science Studies, and the conference was psychedelic science. And so they had all the best doctors and researchers out there, and they're coming out with some amazing results from this shit. So the psilocybin has dosed 120 people in clinical trials and measured clinical outcomes. The Johns Hopkins study is really famous, in which case like 94% of the people who took psilocybin said that it was one of the most meaningful experiences of their life. 40% said it was the single most meaningful experience. So they got that clinical data. They got clinical data on people in palliative care that are dying at the end of their life and the experiences that they have with clinicians. They got post-traumatic stress. They got depression. Ayahuasca is doing a lot for addiction. I listened to a speech by this guy, Dr. Gabor Mate. Brilliant man. And he's worked on the Lower East Side in Vancouver, which I guess is a really rough area. I don't really know Vancouver that well.
Vancouver's got a huge drug problem.
Yeah.
Huge heroin problem.
So huge heroin problem. So he's been using a combination of ayahuasca and some different care and also Iboga to really break down these people's addictions. And he's saying all of these doctors and scientists who are just... They began not as psychedelic advocates, but as doctors and scientists are saying, listen, you give someone psilocybin and give them go through the same program, we'll accomplish what it took 3 years to accomplish in 3 hours. And it's really cool to see what's going on with that. And the ayahuasca with addiction, he's like, these people who, we would never really get them off everything. If we got them off the coke, then they'd be hooked to the methadone, and then we never really got them off the addiction.
No.
He's like, now Iboga, ayahuasca, continued care, we're seeing complete 180 turnaround.
Complete.
Yeah.
No aftercare, no taking.
Totally.
I know 1,000 people in L.A. that are clean and sober and AA, but they're all on some type of medication to balance them out. That's not clean and sober.
Nope.
So they never did the job. They never took care of the job. I was addicted to cocaine for 27 years, and today I don't do cocaine, but I smoke pot. Is it a transfer of addiction? Absolutely. But I've always smoked pot. I smoked pot since I was 10. But I do it to keep me together. I always liked the acids. I always, like I said to you, really, at that age, it helped me find out who the fuck I was in a time where I really needed it.
Gives you that other different perspective. At least just shifts things a little bit so you can realize, oh, okay. You know what's actually happening? What was another interesting thing I found out? People think that a lot of these psychedelics are adding something to your brain. Because you're taking it in, right? So you assume when you take mushrooms that you're actually adding the psilocybin to your brain, and that's causing something to happen. That's actually not what's happening. The psilocybin is restricting blood flow to certain parts of your brain that it's basically shutting down certain systems. So it's shutting down that system of your mind that's super alert and always worried about fucking or fighting or survival. It's letting that go to sleep for a little while. It's letting the areas of your brain that control depression, it's letting that go to sleep for a while by restricting the blood flow. And that's what's giving you the psychedelic experience. Same thing with all these drugs. They're not actually, DMT is a little bit different because it is adding tryptamine, but most of them, like psilocybin and a lot of the other ones, they're actually just shutting down certain parts of your brain to allow the other parts to be active and to see. Pretty interesting how that's working, because people think people think you're really adding something to that.
It's weird because I don't know if I wouldn't have done that acid at that age, I wouldn't be in this room right now, because it really broke down life for me at that age. Like I said, I had no supervision after the age of 15. I had no supervision. I have a buddy who's staying with me at the hotel. He lives in Midland. He came up to visit me. And he was talking about it last night. He goes, I really give you props because you had no supervision after 15. None.
Yep.
This is all Uncle Joey going to college, getting my diploma, all that shit I did on my own. You know, I didn't have, you know, you just said you went to college and you made your parents happy. I had no parents to be happy. But all this, I think I take it a lot from my early experiences messing around. I mean, that's all I could blame it on.
Yeah.
I was so fucked up, you know. So I do believe it. I just don't like when people who've never done this shit talk about it too much.
Yeah.
If you've never taken an acid trip, do me a favor. Shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up. Because you don't know. It's like ayahuasca. You don't fucking know.
Sure.
You know, I've seen a couple people on that dumb shit, the 2-minute shit, and that's kid shit.
Yeah.
That's for little girls. That doesn't. That's not going to break down your mind. When you know when you did ayahuasca, your mind breaks down some
Absolutely.
shit. When you do the mushrooms, you know, like I've never read that shit you guys read. Because I never read High Times. I never read the guy. What's the guy you guys quote? Steve, whatever.
Terrence
He
McKenna.
tells you to do 3 grams of mushroom. Listen, go fuck yourself. All right. You got to read a book. There's something fucking wrong with you. You have to live it. You have to experience it. Then you can tell the fucking people.
And that's the fundamentals of their religious beliefs too. All the shamans, all these people, and I'm a big proponent. Let's just put the caveat out. I'm not a proponent of willy-nilly trying whatever you like.
Right.
I've always been the one who said, go find the people who understand the plants, they understand the medicine, they understand the set and the setting and how to give it to you to give you the most enlightening experience possible. I think that's incredibly important. So really try to do that as much as possible. But, you know, beyond that, you know, beyond the set and setting, I think there's just, oh, yeah, what the fuck was I talking about? I need some coffee.
What have we gotten from the ayahuasca? Like, I'll tell you what happened to me a couple of years ago. The summer before I quit cocaine, I happened to stumble on heroin, white Chinese heroin, which I always thought was the best shit in the fucking world. That's why they have wars over it.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that summer, I would do a line of heroin. And here I was doing, you know, we have no reason to lie. We're family. I was doing a gram of coke a night minimum. I was opening up the night with a gram of coke. Opening up the night, doing it in 2 lines. So as I was driving at the light, crushing it up in my hands, sticking a dollar bill in there, doing like this, and the gram was gone. I would go home, and after 2 hours, I'd call the guy again. Now he'd deliver it. For some reason, that summer, I would do a little line of heroin on Monday, and I wouldn't snort the whole week. So after 3 months, I didn't touch cocaine. Mm-hmm. And I was ready to call 60 Minutes and said, I found the cure for cocaine addiction. It's fucking heroin. And I caught myself. I'm like, am I fucking crazy? You know? But even that heroin I did, a couple of those nights, it's the reason why I'm here tonight. Because that heroin
it broke the cycle a little bit.
It broke the cycle. Plus, heroin's a complete different thing. But it opens up your eyes also. It's a complete different thing, but it also opens up your eyes. That's why music sucks today, because ain't nobody doing fucking heroin. Maybe Rihanna does a little taste every once in a while, and that's why you hear, where have you been all my life, life? That's the reason why. Nobody does heroin. They can't see it from the other fucking angle.
Dangerous. You're playing with real fire there.
You're going into reality.
Real
You're
fire.
going into reality. And like I tell people, I've never done heroin 2 days in a row. That'll kill you. But you think of all these things that have helped. You know, I think of my drug use. There was nights the cocaine was a waste, but there was a couple nights I got something out of it. I really did. Just me alone. Not a broad there, not me eating her ass or nothing like that. Just me writing or something like that. You know, I tell people all the time, my eyesight went to shit after I stopped doing blow.
You know, cocaine, I went to Peru. I spent a lot of time in Peru. And
Did you ever do blow down there?
No, you don't have the coca leaf is everywhere.
Right.
You're drinking coca tea.
How
you
is
got
it? How's
coca
the
mint.
coca leaf?
You chew up the coca leaf in your
Tremendous.
mouth. It's nice. It's mild. It's it's just something like a caffeine alternative at that point. Just kind of keeps you juiced and relaxed at the same time. You know, I mean, cocaine. Look, that for me, I've tried that before, and this is the first time I've ever met it. This was some years back in the party scene. I thought it was the worst fucking drug I've ever had in my fucking life.
Worst drug.
It made me feel kind of a little cooler for like 5 or 10 minutes, and then reevaluate my life for the next 24 hours.
It's horrible.
It was
horrible.
horrid.
Now, when you did the coca leaf, what was anything close to the live?
It's not an extreme and up, but there's no down. So it's like this steady little climb that you just keep going the whole way. Because the altitude there is brutal. It helps with the altitude sickness, too.
Right,
so right off the plane, you're at 14,000 feet, blazing sun. The sun at 14,000 feet, by the way, in the Sacred Valley is like nothing you've ever experienced. Like you wonder why the Incas worship the sun, because it's so dominant there. But anyways, you're walking out there, and then the first thing off the plane, you have coca leaves, you have coca tea, because they know the tourists want that shit. Ooh, coca. Ooh, coca plants. But it's nice. You just settle into the habit of having that as a tea and a mint and a leaf, and that's the way it should be. I think it's a real shame that because people have made that drug, the way it is, that you have to kind of throw the baby out with the bathwater. It'd be nice to have some coca tea out here. We could be drinking it right now.
Fuck Red Bull and that bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. So that is a shame. But I remember what I was going to get to. The way that the psychedelic shamans and all these religious leaders talk about in the psychedelics, you were talking about experience. Go experience it. That's exactly what their belief is. You ask them to tell you about God, to tell you about that. They say, don't ask me. Stop talking. Stop running your mouth. Go drink a cup of ayahuasca. Go find out yourself.
I can't stand it.
Go find out for yourself what God is like, and that's what all of them say across the board. You want these answers. You can go seek it yourself. And that's, I think, the big problem with all these religions is they're all telling you some watered down truth from some experience that happened to somebody. Somebody tripped balls, Moses, Jesus, somebody had some psychedelic experience. They talked to some disciples, and then some other people wrote it down. And then you're building this faith-based, fear-based, guilt-based system based on somebody else's trip 2,000 years ago that has been manipulated by that many hands. Whereas the real spirituality, in my opinion, is just go fucking find it.
Just go find it.
Go experience it yourself.
Nothing bothers me more when people try to be swarmy around me with Steve and whatever. No, I hate that shit. Just go do it. I've never bought High Times. I don't have any posters in my house. You don't see me no pictures of reefer on my shirt. You don't need to do none of that shit. Just smoke it, all right? You want to make me happy, just shut your fucking mouth and smoke it. I don't want to hear nothing. And that's the way I am with all that stuff. People always... I tried mushrooms. I lived in Colorado in the 80s when mushrooms were fucking amazing. And I didn't think much of them. I was more into the acid. I wanted to do the 12-hour. I want to do the 12-hour because after 4 hours, you're thinking one thing. And after 8, you're thinking another thing. And after 12, you're thinking another thing.
Fuck yeah.
And unless somebody's done that for 12 hours, listen, go the fuck away. Go to the other side of the room and do DMT and jump up and down and cry or what the fuck you do.
You know what's the one even crazier than that is the Iboga that I did, which is 24 hours, Joey. 24-hour trip. That is some crazy shit. I actually had a semi-lucid dream about doing it again last night. It was fucking crazy.
What country did you do that in?
I did that in Costa Rica, but it comes from Gabon in Africa. It's a shrub that grows in Africa, and the Bwiti people, Bwiti, are the ones that lead the ceremony. But I went down to Costa Rica to do it because one of the Bwiti shamans came down there to Costa Rica to administer it. That is some crazy shit, man. That's different than anything because it's a stimulant-based psychedelic. So your heart is pounding 24 hours, and you're listening to some weird instrument that's this guy's got a string in his mouth and then another one on his balls. I don't know, somewhere now. It's going, and it's so fast, but it's the only thing that's relaxing to you because your heart rate is so high. So if you listen to anything calming, you're going to go crazy because your heart rate's dum, 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 and the music's, la, la, la. You go nuts. So, but the music's faster than your heart still, so you still feel like you're a human, but man, it's fucking crazy.
Now, what qualifies you to be a shaman? How do they become shamans?
It's a tradition passed on grandfather to son for unbroken, years and years of lineage. And they do grandfather to son because they'd create a rival situation if it was father to son. So that's the only way they pass it on. Because these shamans, they're the power players in their village, really. They're the chiefs. So, I mean, they're sometimes a leader, but they're as powerful, sometimes more powerful than the chief. I mean, they've built such a belief system around them. They can put a hex or put a curse on anybody and just say they did, and that person will die because they believe that they've been cursed, And so they are hugely powerful. And some of them are great and some of them are bad. Some of them will abuse that power. Some of them even come to the West with that paradigm and will take advantage of people they're leading in ceremonies, females. They just feel like they're, kings.
Take off your clothes, bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the guy that teaches yoga. in the heat. That fucking pervert. I saw him one day. I'm like,
I don't even know who that is, but I can
the guy,
bring the analogy.
It's
right?
the big yoga company, the one that does the hot yoga, and he just got accused. Bikram. He just got accused of sexual harassment. You can tell he's a little dirty Hindu freak. You don't need no. I went to this party in Hollywood for a barbecue, and I bumped into a chick. In fact, she talked me into yoga about 4 years ago, but I could tell she was sucking that Hindu dick because she was breaking it down to me too much. You had to suck a dick to be that. She's like, you have to go. Once they say amazing and something else in the same sentence, you suck that dick.
Yeah.
You could tell. Don't take a genius. So you could tell he's just down there plugging up white chicks that go to L.A.
Oh, yeah.
Give them that old yoga dick with sweat on it and fucking downward
down dog,
juice. Up dog, down
cobra,
dog.
Whatever.
And they're like, oh, my God, I've been spiritually changed. No, you haven't. You've been spiritually shot loaded.
You've been inseminated.
Fucking yoga
spiritually
load.
inseminated. Yeah, it's funny. There's always that, it can go either way. Like my ayahuasca shaman in particular is, one of the things I love about him is he is one of the good guys, but you hear stories of these other people who just aren't. And one of the ways you can really tell is the more humble that person is and the more you wouldn't know if he was a shaman. If you saw him, like my guy, Maestro Orlando Chuendaman's his name, you see him out eating, he's going to be laughing, he's joking, he's got a ball cap on, he'll go out fishing, he doesn't give a fuck. But when it comes time to do business, and bring the ayahuasca to ceremony, he will create a parallel universe for you to trip with him in. And he's singing and he's rattling the leaves, and it's fucking straight business at that point. He's on another level. But in his day-to-day life, you'd never know.
How much do you pay him for an ayahuasca trip?
They
take money, they take love.
Yeah, they do. They get paid in money. They got to keep the operations going. Some, same deal. Some take what it needs to kind of grow their base and keep things kind of sustainable, and others will just gouge the shit out of you, and make a business out of it.
Where does yours live?
He lives out in Peru, out in near Tarapoto.
And you contact him, or you just go down there and look open?
He hit me up on fucking Facebook the other day. I was blown away about I had my psychedelic experience video out. I don't know if you've seen that.
No.
Oh, you have to check it out. It's a cool video. But he hits me up on Facebook, and I was like, whoa, worlds collide. I mean, things are happening fast, but I guess he got internet in his center down there. And so he was reaching out. But
it's amazing.
It's crazy. But yeah, he's got a 300-year lineage of grandfather to grandson, breaking down, passing him the lessons of the plants, the songs, and all that. And then they have to go on basically their own vision quest where they live in the jungle, surviving off the plants that they create for, a year, 2 years. Each shaman does it a different way. Just eating only the plants. It's their dieta. So to learn about the plant, they have to ingest what they believe is the spirit of the plant and really understand it. So not just the hallucinogens, but other things like cat's claw. So they'll go on a diet, a dieta, where they'll just have cat's claw for like a week, so they really understand it. And they'll do that one by one through all the different plants in the jungle till they really know what the fuck's up with that plant. Because when you eat only one plant for a week, you know exactly what that shit is going to do, and that's how they're able to kind of read and prescribe things. So it's a really, it's a powerful knowledge base that they have. And it's a different experience when you go down there to do that kind of stuff. And then, you put that on the other side, and they have all this knowledge, and they're still not even going to talk to you about it. They're like, go see it. Go find for yourself. You want to know what that plant's about? Eat it for a week, Don't ask me. Don't take my word for it. I have my opinion, but, go find it. And then you counterbalance that with some priest or whatever in kind of common religion. It's just passing along something they read, in a book. They've never experienced any of that shit. They don't know. It's just something they read, something they've been told. And it's a different ball game, different paradigm. You probably grew up in what, Catholic background? How do you think that's affected your life, Joey?
Big. I'm a Catholic. I'm a Catholic to the end. As far as religion's concerned, it's not like I have one religion. It's like, I'm a Jeet Kune Do religions. I went to college in Boulder.
Take the best of everything, yeah.
I'm a big Buddhist guy. I used to go to the Naropa Institute and do the walking meditations, and I would do all that shit. So there's a little Buddhism in there. I like the Judaism religion. There's parts of that I like, so I include that in there. I'm Cuban, so I was born in Santeria religion, so I like that in there. Mm-hmm. So and all through that, and then I just live off the karma thing. You step on a fucking bug. When I kidnapped the guy, I got $30,000. My attorney bill was $32,000. Mm-hmm. You follow me? So I follow the karma thing. So it's always, I try to, take a little piece from everything, and it helps me in my daily life, to be honest with you. I didn't like when I go to a Catholic church and the first 2 pews, you see a guy who cheats on his wife.
Yeah.
Sitting there with his family, with his suit on, making believe he's the best guy in the community. I couldn't live with that.
Yep.
In fact, when he left that day, the guy I'm talking about, I called him a fucking mammygram. I can't believe. Even when I go to church, I sit in the back because I'm so fucked up. I sit in the back, okay? And you have the balls, you're cheating on your fat fucking cunt wife, but you sit in the front row putting 100 in, so that redeems you. That makes you better than me. No, it doesn't, And that's just kind of shit. The priest and all that shit, that doesn't. What am I going to do about that?
Yeah.
I can't control that. Whatever. My uncle, on the other hand, my mother's brother, he fucking hates Catholic. He says they're religion of faggots. I mean, he fucking goes nuts.
Well, a lot of people have been scarred.
Yeah,
a lot of
he
people
goes fucking nuts. But on the other hand, there's this group in L.A., and they come out every month to protest it. After a while, it's like, move on. Yeah. It's like me telling everybody about just move the fuck on.
Totally.
That was yesterday. Move the fuck on. You're going to sit there. I can still feel his breath on my neck. Yeah, so what do you want me to do? Move the fuck on, So there are little things like that just made me, but I'm very spiritual. I believe in, I pray to dead people. I always ask the Lord to give them light because they guide me. I believe in a lot of things a lot of people don't think I believe in, but I've seen it. For me to still be in this room, I know there's something out there. For me to hug that little 4-month-old I have at the house, after what I've been through in my life, there's something out there. I look at my wife, and she's beside herself. I've done, beside marrying her and trying to be the best I could to her, I gave her the best gift you could give a woman, which is a child from my heart. I'm not her baby's daddy. I'm none of that shit they talk about today. I'm that child's father. I gave her the biggest gift, and she gave me the biggest fucking gift. I appreciate my life on it, Mr. Warrior Poet.
Yeah, I hear you, Joey.
I love
and
my
I
life.
think, as well, you should. We all should. Otherwise, what the fuck are we here for?
No, there's a lot of people that don't appreciate
point,
their life. And they don't understand.
This is the magic of being the reason to be alive is to experience the magic. All of it. All of it. The sadness, the love, the joy, the pain. That's something you don't get when you're just spirit. When your spirit leaves your body, you don't get any of that shit anymore. It's all, it's all just, you don't get the sensation. So enjoy all that shit. If you just got broken up with that real heartache, that deep heartache, there's a beauty in that. There's a feeling of being alive when you're that hurt. Embrace that. Don't run from, and complain about it. Just go in there, eyes open, and instead of trying to claw your way out of the hole, I might get sad, just dig deeper, and you'll fucking dig your way out the other side.
You really will.
And that's what you got to do. You got to experience all. That's what we're here for, to experience everything. And take the best. I think what you said about your religions is absolutely the way we should do it. Not only with religion, but philosophies and people. Take the best. Take what works. Don't listen to me even and say, everything Aubrey says is right. Take the shit that makes sense to you that I say.
And
take
use
the
it to make it better.
You use it to make it better. Same with religion. Islam has beautiful things in it.
Beautiful things in it.
Judaism, Catholicism. Find the beautiful parts of that, those nuggets in there. Incorporate those and just use that.
It's weird how the Islam does have some beauty in their religion. It's so weird. It's like Scarface. When it came out, everybody thought I was a drug dealer for years. And you think it's cute for a little while, you know what I'm saying? But there's more to Cuban people. There's a lot of Cuban people that lost their homes. And they went to Miami with nothing and start all over again. I always feel that when if I tell you this, sometimes nothing really bad happens in your life. Did you know that? It's really all fucking good. Look, if my mother wouldn't have died, I would have been a worthless human being today. Yep. I would have been a soft fucking kid, like 500,000 people that are walking around because my mother spoiled me. She thought because she had $3 that gave her that I was better than everybody else. And it's not about money. Mm-hmm. It's about you being you. So when my mother died, the life of my life died. The food I take, I tell people when your parent dies, you keep living, but it's like eating food without salt on it. That's what your life is like. Yeah. When I went to prison, I went to prison, and I should walk around like a fucking hermit and not talk to people. Why? I learned I wanted to become a comic in prison. So that 2 years at least showed me what I wanted to be. There's kids today that are walking around, they don't know what the fuck they want to be.
You can't make a sword without a lot of heat and a lot of hammering.
That's my boy. you know? So nothing really bad happens in this life because you always take something good out of it. Always. Even when you're sitting there, my friend's wife just died, and we had to go to the wake last week. Fucking horrible. They cancer in November. She was a runner guy, a fucking runner. marathons and that hammer shit in Hawaii where you run and swim.
Triathlon.
She had pain in her back,
Ironman.
and she had a cyst on her spine, a cancer on her spine. The end of fucking November, she died, April 26th. It's amazing. He's like, it's amazing. Look at my kids. They're starting to talk more since she's died. They didn't talk for 2 fucking years. So there's really nothing bad that happens in life unless you want it to be bad. You could take something good out of it, you know? I mean...
Of course. And even death, you know, I was listening to, I got to share lunch with this guy, Ralph Metzner, who's a pioneer in the field of spirituality and psychedelic science himself. And he was giving a speech, and he says, our society's viewpoint on death is purely infantile. You know, that we think that it's the finale, you know, that we think it's the end. It's not the end. And I appreciated what he said. He's like, it's not the end. And that's not my opinion. That's a fucking fact.
That's a fact.
That's a fact.
That's a fact.
You know, so people are so afraid of what they think is a finale. It's just a transition. It's on to something else.
It's your end of your life here on Earth.
Yeah. And it's a shame, you know, try to live as much as you can, pack as much in. But if it's time, it's not this great tragedy. It's a shame maybe if it was a little early or it didn't happen quite the way you wanted. But that's why you got to make sure you live every goddamn day to the best you can, you know, and try and experience everything. If you get the challenge, if you get that, feel what it feels like. Know that that's part of your birthright, you know, every little piece, the struggle, the triumph, the joy, the sadness, the love, all of it.
It's amazing
the laughter.
how much fun it is.
Hell yeah.
It's amazing how much fun it is when you live life, you know, and it's fucking hysterical. Like I said, when I grew up, my mom had tons of money, trips, Puerto Rico. We used to travel all the fucking time, nice house. And then I had no money, and I was happier at some points. You know, some points I was happier. It was just pure happiness, you know. It's amazing the things you find out in this life, man. I'm fucking 50 years old, and I sit here. I know, Aubrey, come on. When I was taking that acid when I was 16, I literally remember going, I'm going to enjoy this because I'm not going to make it past 28. I knew it, Aubrey. I knew. And here I find myself. I thought at 50 the feds were going to have me by now and arrest me for something I did at 34, a gun or something. No, my wife knocked on the door and
thriving.
said, yeah.
Making people laugh, making people happy every fucking day, Joey.
Man. And I can't believe I even do that, you know. I can't believe I even do that, man. It's just, I can't believe it's been 20 years. I can't believe that, you know, but nobody could take it away from me, Aubrey.
Yeah.
You know, nobody could take it. I did comedy at a halftime at a Buffalo Sabres game with people throwing shit at me. No matter how bad the experience taught me, that experience made me fucking even worse about comedy. Like, this is how good I am. I got booed at a fucking hockey game, and they threw apples at me and shit. And I was actually being funny. It was just a Buffalo Sabre game.
Yeah.
Buffalo loves their fucking hockey. What are you going to do, you know?
Yeah.
So it's amazing the things, and nothing happens unless you get up off that fucking couch.
Go do it.
Nothing. You know, Aubrey, you look at me, and people look at me, and they think I'm some guy. If you go to my house, I have my whole day planned out to the T. Do you know that?
And you're up early.
Early.
I know if I want to get a hold of Joey Diaz, I can call him as soon as I wake up.
6
even
in the
though
morning.
it's 2 hours earlier out there in L.A., Joey Diaz is going to answer the goddamn phone because he's awake. He's thriving.
I love that people write me off to, oh, he's a fat cokehead or whatever the fuck he's doing. I get up at 4. I pray. I pray for the spirits that left me. I have all my friends that, anybody who did something for me that's dead, I have their picture and I say a prayer for them.
Sure.
That's how I open up my day. And then I feed my cats. I clean the litter box. I make some coffee, some fucking, on it fucking rock steel coffee.
Bulletproof.
In my little machine. You know, and I write and I say different things, and it's so weird. I say the dumbest things on Twitter. And people hit me back 2 days later and go, bro, thank you for, you know, get up and wash your ass. It's going to be a beautiful day to be alive. You know, wash your pussy. What if you run into a bus full of recovering cocksuckers? You know, you never know. But, you know, man, I know when I was locked up, people come to me and go, a lot of people don't like you because you're always laughing in the morning. You're always happy in the morning. People don't like that. And I'm like, are you fucking retarded?
Yeah.
How are you not want to, when I wake up in the morning, just the fact that I'm awake, bro.
Yeah.
Just the fact that I'm awake. You know, my animals, if you don't have an animal, get an animal. And see how he is in the morning. He doesn't want anything from you but love. And right when you're going to go, every day I'm going to kick one of those fucking cats, Aubrey. You know that. When I get up and I'm peeing and they're going around my leg, I'm about to kick one of those motherfuckers. And then I look at them and I go, look at this shit. They love me and I'm alive. And I pick them up and I kiss them and my day's good for the fucking day.
You just fucked me, Joey. I'm going to have to get a pet. I'm going to come home
Something.
and they're like,
A dog.
you hear Joey Diaz? He's going to tell you
A
to get a
dog.
pet.
Something
I know,
because
I'm planning on it.
you're going to see something that has no reason to give you love.
Yep.
He has no reason. An animal has no reason to give you love. And you
It's
get
just
home,
his nature.
Just his nature. And you get home and you're like, this is my puppy.
Yep.
Or a cat, or a bird, or a turtle.
So many animals are like
even
that.
Even a fucking turtle that's just dumb looking at its shell. After a year, they know who you are, bro.
Yeah.
You know, a snake knows who the fuck you are.
Sure.
It's just a beautiful thing, man.
It is, man. Well, it's a beautiful time to be alive in a beautiful world we live in with all its problems, you know. We're living in the best of times. You know, we really are. And people want to complain and stuff, but fuck, man, we have more opportunity to make life beautiful now than anybody in any time ever before.
You said something beautiful before. You talked about that some days you get up and you have that pain. You know, you broke up with somebody, you have that pain. And I remember telling somebody when I broke up with my wife when I was a kid, I'm like, I really can't even sleep at night. And they go, what, from the pain? I go, yeah. And they go, at least you're alive. You're getting pain, you're alive, bro. And that's how I look at it now. We're alive. You justify your existence. You don't lie to nobody. You do the best you can every day. Something good has to come from it.
That's the church.
Something good has to come from it, bro. Somebody's watching.
And it will.
And it will.
It'll be a wind at your back. All right, my brother. That was awesome. That's it. We're going to wrap this up. We'll have to do it again sometime, though. Maybe I'll hop on your podcast out there.
I'd
in
love
LA.
for you to call and talk about just what you're doing with because I don't really know what's in all these pills.
I'll break it down for you.
Okay.
I'll break it down for you.
And I read as much as I can, but it's like I don't have that much time to look up everything fucking individually, you know?
Yeah.
But I love what you're doing. And
Thanks, Joey.
It's helped me dramatically. And anybody who's fat, anybody who listens to me, I try to point them through it. And I even walk them through the steps. And what you're doing now with this, I can't wait because I always get jet lag. I've been on a fucking plane the last 7 weeks. You know, I call you from New Orleans.
Yeah.
I call, every week because the film business has gone down, you know? So they're shooting all these movies away. So now with the kid and everything, I like to go out. I'm really working on a special. So this jet lag, I hope this is the Alpha Brain and powder. How much water?
Yeah, just as much as you can. I mean, water's not going to hurt you. So I put it in like a full
That's what
full
I'm trying to
bottle
ask.
of
I'm
water.
sorry.
Yeah. So like 16 ounces is good. 12 ounces is fine. If you got to go 8 ounces, go 8 ounces. It's going to be kind of strong.
And what
man.
flavors is coming?
It's coming in orange. It's like an orange flavor. It's called On at 180.
Okay.
Coming out here soon. Yeah,
It's like
got,
Tang.
Yeah, it
Remember
is.
Tang?
It is.
Tang
It's
was
kind of like a
fucking
high.
good.
It's kind of like a high C without the sugar.
Okay.
It's got natural sweeteners in it, like stevia and shit. But yeah, it's like got Alpha Brain, some of the what's best in Shroom Tech, some of what's best in New Mood, and some brand new shit in there too. So it's really gonna, we call it 180 because it's gonna turn your shit around. You down, you jet lag. 180, bitches. Turn your day around. That's what we got coming.
But you're doing some great things, and my heart goes out, brother.
Likewise,
I'm happy
Joey.
we're working together and we're trying to help the world one day at a time.
Absolutely, my brother.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. We'll be back next week with both the Honor and the Warrior Poet podcast. Stay tuned, bitches. Love you. Later.